So I'm quite obsessed with the Sustainable Development Goals. They cover everything. They're really good for the kids to understand. If everyone tried to live towards them, then the world would be a much better place.
We learn about stuff under the water, so that if we ever go diving or something like that, we could know most of the fishies and stuff that live under the water.
My favourite shark is the lemon shark because my dad swam with one.
We went on our excursions at the coast, and basically they taught us about how if plastic can get into waters, animals can.
Oh, the naivety of children, innocent, sweet, and whatnot. But just to go back to that, I mean, I love this at the start, and there is literally no rhyme, no reason to this stream. I just have still got the same inability to curtail my my obsession with opening far too many tabs, and I ended up looking at one thing, which led me to another thing, which led me to another thing, and subsequently I've ended up with about fucking 50 tabs open. And instead of posting tons of videos and whatnot, I thought I would just go through some of the stuff here. But obviously, it's learning for sustainability BS. Like, I mean, just this woman at the start. I mean, come on, fuck. Come on to fuck.
So I'm quite obsessed with the Sustainable Development Goals. They cover everything. They're really good for the kids to understand. If everyone tried to live towards them, then the world would be a much better place.
A teacher that's obsessed with sustainable. Jesus. You know, I'm so glad I'm not a child in this day and age, to be honest. But at the same time, it's somewhat frightening that there is many a child in school, and this is the sort of BS that they're subjected to now, when you've got teachers who are, just to quote her there, obsessed with the Sustainable Development Goals. Back in the day, you went to school to learn your ABCs, your numeracy, etc. Now you're going to school to learn about the Sustainable Development Goals, global citizenship education, and all the shite that comes along with it, such as, well, let me just skip it a wee bit further on, and we'll see. Yeah, here we go again. Yeah.
We've been learning about diversity and stereotypes.
Of course you have.
We've been learning about slavery and equalities.
Of course you have.
Don't grow up thinking that's okay.
Slavery and equality and diversity, you know, that's what you should be going to school to learn all about, you know. Of course, that's what you should be going to school to learn about, you know. Oh, I don't know, man. Honest to fuck. And then what was this one? Oh, there's this one as well. Far too many tabs, man, honestly. Far too many tabs.
Learning for Sustainability is an approach to life and learning. It enables learners, educators, schools, and their wider communities to build a socially just, sustainable, and equitable society.
I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, this is why I get so annoyed whenever I talk about this in videos and whatnot, you know? Some people might not necessarily think this is a particularly big deal, but I just think even the rhetoric in and of itself is fucking very malevolent, you know? I mean, it just reeks of politicization of children, first and foremost. But I mean, what place has any of that got in a school setting? Why is this the status quo now? Really, that's perplexing.
We live in an increasingly interdependent and complex world, with our actions affecting the lives of people and nature on a global scale, both today and in the future. But what does that mean for us as educators? And more importantly, what does it mean for our learners and the wider communities we work with? In Scotland, Learning for Sustainability underpins our education system. It is woven through our policies and curricula.
How convenient.
So much so that our approach is recognised as world-leading by the United Nations.
Isn't that sweet and progressive?
Uniquely in Scotland, all learners have an entitlement to learning for sustainability, and it is a responsibility of all education professionals. Internationally, Learning for Sustainability connects directly with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are 17 inspiring goals agreed upon by all United Nations member states, with the aim of achieving a better and more sustainable future for all by 2030.
And how do they intend to achieve this sustainable, equitable future? Well, that's right. They need to introduce this shite into the classroom, you know. And as I said already, long gone are the days where children went to school to learn their numeracy, their ABCs, etc. Now they're learning about politics. Now they're learning about climate change. Now they're learning about diversity, global citizenship, etc., etc. They're learning about the Sustainable Development Goals, and it's presented as if it's acceptable, and it's justified because we apparently live in a world now that's filled to the brim of never-ending crises, you know. And the only way that we're going to be able to quell the never-ending perma-crisis, quote unquote, is to become global citizens, and to be active human rights defenders, etc. You know, it's not just that though, right? I mean, this also fucking ties in to this other tab here, right? As I say, there is literally no coordination to this stream whatsoever. I'm just kind of going through all the tabs that I've ended up fucking opening up and whatnot. This one, right?
Hi, and welcome to a walkthrough of the Learning for Sustainability LFS sketchnote. It shows the themes and kinds of learning our children and young people might experience through LFS as they grow and develop. We hope this kind of learning will help them become people who care for each other and the natural world, and that they lead positive change in their communities, society, and the wider world. Target 2030 aims to help every school and setting become sustainable by 2030. By exploring these themes, you may find yourself making connections with what you're already doing and what you might do next. The sketchnote contains 6 sections: being me, building empathy, finding and using my voice, making wider connections, active citizens, and ready to thrive. We will examine each of these in turn, starting with being me, then working clockwise round the sketchnote.
Well, I won't be going through the entirety of this video, but there is a few sections in here that are worth pointing out. If I can find them.
Learners who know their community can care for it and the people who live there. Charity shopping and donating.
There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Because there is method to their madness. You know, we can poke fun at it, you know, because it is somewhat funny, some of the bollocks that they come away with, all this fluffy, namby-pamby, air quote-unquote progressive verbiage that they have a tendency to use, you know, wet wipery, dribble, etc. But there is method to their madness, because at the end of the day, they are politicizing children, you know, and that's where the United Nations Children's Rights Charter comes into effect, which is now effectively into Scots law, as far as I'm aware anyway. If it's not already implemented into Scots law, it's on the verge of becoming integrated into Scots law, which effectively gives children a myriad of different rights. It basically sort of breaks down the barrier between parent and child, makes them sort of indistinguishable from one another. And as a consequence of such, when you start to politicize children, they have a right to be listened to and taken seriously now, etc., etc. So, point in case, if you introduce politics into the classroom, irrespective of how watered down it may very well be, depending on the age range, the reality is the children will in turn start to speak about politics. They might in turn start to suggest change, political change, etc. And lo and behold, they have a right to be listened to and taken seriously. And that has been shown to be absolutely correct on 2 separate examples I could quite easily provide right now. First and foremost would be the climate change strikes back in 2019, 2020 time, before Nicola Sturgeon back in the day declared a climate emergency in Scotland. Why did she do that? That's because children took to the streets all up and down the UK to demand action on climate change. And because they have a right to be listened to and taken seriously, lo and fucking behold, that's exactly what occurred. Second point I could point out would be the fact that every single year in Scotland, there's the Children's Parliament, members of the Children's Parliament, children that allegedly represent the views of children up and down Scotland. They all have a little cabinet meeting with the First Minister and his little gimpy crew, right? And they point out a few things that children up and down Scotland want to see, politically speaking. And because they have a right to be listened to and taken seriously, lo and fucking behold, what do you then in turn see? Well, yeah, you see these things being implemented. But regardless,
Call action. Moving on to the finding and using my voice section. This is about developing informed views and opinions and sharing these respectfully. Exploring the idea of fake news can help learners with critical thinking. Using their voice to vote and take action, leading to active citizens. Children and young people's voices matter.
do they are?
Research shows us they care about climate change, equalities, and well-being.
Research
they have the
shows
right-
children care about climate change. Yeah. And children's voices matter, apparently. You know what I'm saying? They're politicizing children, making them feel like they're valued and their opinions fucking matter. You know? Who would you rather fix your Ford Fiesta? Would you rather a mechanic or little Johnny who's learned about Ford Fiestas in his little textbook, even though he's in P3? Come on now. These people don't give a shit about children. The reality of the matter is they're politicizing children, and when the children come out with the correct terminology, that's when their opinions all of a sudden matter. But research apparently shows that children care about climate change. When I was a child, I didn't give a shit about climate change. Why is that? Because we weren't talked about it. Isn't it funny? You know what I mean? It's fucking odious. And I mean, it's not even just the climate change stuff. There is a couple other tabs on the matter that I do have open in that regard. But there's some other stuff as well. Anti-racism, etc. It's not standard, isn't it?
Need to be heard on these issues. Exploring who we are and where we fit is an ongoing aspect of growing up, and this includes UNCRC Article 12, respecting the views of the child.
Mm-hmm.
Next, it's the making connections section. This explores the connections between people, communities, and issues. The issue of unequal housing can uncover wealth distribution, and this can be explored locally and globally.
2 seconds.
Linked to this is how resources are used for all.
Equity, of course.
The next section is becoming active citizens.
Uh-huh.
It's about
Empowering.
learners bringing about
Yes.
positive change on things that matter to them, where they live, and the wider world. Having explored the issues and connections, how can learners be active and do something about what matters to them?
I mean, come on. So in your face, eh? And that's just, it's just fucking disgusting, to be honest. But
For example, helping to make the school or setting more sustainable. Learning for sustainability is more than just the green stuff. It's about social justice issues too. How we learn about tackling racism, gender balance, and disability and rights all comes into this area too.
how convenient.
Spreading the word to influence those in power is a positive step learners can take. The climate crisis and the biodiversity crisis can feel really big. People may find it hard to know what to do or may suffer from eco-anxiety. Self-care can help combat anxiety and help learners channel an
It's
appreciation.
fucking
on-
rancid, that. It's just fucking rancid. Like, and it's just presented as if this is normal. This isn't normal. Honestly. 2 seconds, and there was one more bit at the end of this wee video here. I think it's about here.
The world needs learners who are working creatively to find solutions. Developing meta skills can help learners access the green jobs of today and the future. The Sustainable Development Goals aim to raise awareness of how to build a better and more sustainable future for all. In Scotland, we aim to become net zero by 2045. Learning for sustainability can help us develop our skills, help us to lead happier, healthier, and fairer lives. That brings us to the end of the sketchnote voiceover.
Very,
We
very
hope we found this
progressive.
overview
Very
helpful.
progressive.
We hope-
you know? Very, very progressive. Oh, cut it all. Anyway, so so that leads me to I can finally get rid of some of these fucking tabs now, which is good. But it brings me to anti-racism. Came across this earlier on as well. And instead of making, as I say, a video on it, I just thought I would just fire it in this. So share the screen. Here we go. Ah, there we go. So this is from the Children's Parliament. The Dignity in School team, together with anti-racism educator Grace Dempsey from Intercultural Youth Scotland and multidisciplinary artist Kadia Santi, took over 2 primary 5 classes at Dens Road Primary School in Dundee. What followed was an intensive investigation on the topic of anti-racist education through the lens of human dignity and children's human rights. Through daily sessions during the first week of November 2024, children and teachers were invited to take part in active discussions, creative reflections, and arts workshops to explore themes of identity, culture, and belonging, whilst also reviewing the 7 key principles of anti-racism education. Children took part in outdoor physical games, made self-portrait sculptures from clay, created a map and a flag to represent the tolerant world in which they aspire to live, whilst capturing their own image using analog photography. The aim of the project was for children, operative word there being children, to gain a better understanding of key concepts such as discrimination, privilege, yeah, privilege, white privilege, of course, power, allyship, and race, while living anti-racist behaviors and languages in their daily lives. Sometimes challenging and uncomfortable questions arose. The team were prepared and worked to ensure all participants were able to experience a safe, friendly, and supportive environment. At the beginning of the residency, we agreed with staff and participants that such conversations were necessary in order to learn about racism and in order to create a more tolerant and inclusive culture. And then it says down here as well that 2 examples of learning for the group were a distinction between bullying and racism, but this more importantly, discovering that Dundee's colonial heritage can be found on the participants' doorstep. What better way to quell the alleged racism that they claim is well, it permeates throughout society than to teach little children all there is to know about fucking privilege? Yes, of course. I mean, I struggle sometimes, you know what, like, as I say, I've got this annoying habit of opening too many tabs and then I just kind of get tongue-tied sometimes and whatnot. Like, that was happening for years. It's happening most of fucking last year. It's happened every stream I've ever been a part of over the course of my time on YouTube and whatnot. But I've come across some amount of nonsense over the years, but it never ceases to amaze me just how low these people seem to continuously stoop when it comes to targeting children, whilst trying to present themselves as, fighting the good fight for the greater good. What the fuck are children being taught about privilege for? But it's anti-racism, isn't it? Yeah. And the Children's Parliament, they are children. They're little kids. And you're teaching them about Dundee's alleged colonial heritage. And you're teaching them about privilege, all in order to quell the so-called racism that exists within society all across Dundee in this particular instance, Where the fuck are the parents? Or do they just fall for the namby-pamby rhetoric such as, it's just anti-racism, it's fine? I would be losing my shit if my child ended up participating in something like that. In fact, they wouldn't be participating in it because they'd be conveniently off that day. You know what I mean? What the fuck? But regardless, in addition to the in-class workshops, the dignity, these words, man, the Dignity in School team led a professional development training session for Dens Road Primary School staff on the topic of anti-racism. During the session, staff had the opportunity to discuss real scenarios from their experience, exploring resources and tools to better understand the topic and improve confidence when faced with future racist incidents in their school. In parallel to our work with Dens Road, we also facilitated monthly focus groups with children and adults from other Dignity in School local area partners. Of course, it's all tied in neat and nice to children's human rights. Yeah. So there was some consultation that they're referring to, which culminated in a multimedia exhibition called Defending Rights and Fighting Racism. The exhibition showcased the work and the learning of the Dens Road children as part of their anti-racism journey. Children presented to their schools, family, and external guests, including local MPs, Education Scotland, the Scottish Government, ScotDec, teachers, etc. The exhibition included the children's artwork, including their maps and flags, and a video manifesto describing an anti-racist school and community. Fucking hell, you know what I mean, man? I don't know. I really don't. Oh, I don't know, man. That's certainly up there. That's for sure. And then, of course, even on this website, just briefly before I move on, fucking hell, I've got so many tabs. I can't even see like the bits at the corner. I don't know what's like a YouTube video and what's not. Because it's just like fucking tabs. Learning for Sustainability, same website, Children's Parliament. Scotland moves towards legal incorporation of the UNCRC, and in a year that the UN's Committee on the Rights of the Child voted to incorporate children's environmental rights under the 26th General Comment, the demonstration of Scotland's commitment to children's participation rights is critical. Scotland's Learning for Sustainability curriculum is rooted in the UNCRC, including Articles 29 and 12, ensuring children's education fosters respect for the environment and the right to participate in matters that affect them. But despite this, Scottish children have expressed a lack of involvement in their learning, especially regarding the climate crisis. Of course, Scott was highlighted by members of the Children's Parliament in our first Learning for Sustainability consultation. It's just, oh my fucking God, man. I don't know. Where is it? Oh, there was a bit down here. Was I don't know. Here we go. According to Article 12 of the UNCRC, children have a right to have their views heard on matters that are important to them. Children also have a right to an education about their physical environment. Following on from the participation of members of the Children's Parliament in Scotland's Climate Assembly, which was a few years ago, we've listened to children's calls to action on receiving education on climate change by exploring the Scottish Government's new Learning for Sustainability consultation. Yeah, and then, of course, the Scottish Government came out with their Target 2030, or Learning for Sustainability Target 2030 education resources. I can't even remember the name of it now, to be honest. I don't even know if I've actually got that on a tab, but that leads me on, funnily enough, to the climate change pish before I fucking end this, because I've got things to do tomorrow. But there's this, where is that? Got so much fucking stuff open, man. Oh, dearie me. Is it there? Is it that one? What the fuck? Jesus Christ, man. Very unprofessional, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're getting there. Introduction to climate justice. Fucking hell, man. Climate justice education, you know. Oh, Scotland. What a doozy. It's a beautiful, beautiful little country, isn't it? Very progressive. Global citizenship. You gotta love it. You've gotta love it, don't you? You know what I mean? Climate fucking justice. I mean, have you never heard some amount of shite? You know? Oh, God. Global citizenship is a way of living that recognizes our world as an increasingly complex web of connections and interdependencies, a world in which our choices and actions may have repercussions for people and communities locally, nationally, or internationally. It nurtures personal respect and respect for others wherever they live, encouraging individuals to think deeply and critically about what is equitable and just. I mean, it's all designed for children. It's all designed for children. It's all designed for our so-called education system in this country. Once upon a time, historically speaking, was world renowned for being top notch. And this is the sort of wet wipery that you will come to find now. Time and time again, it's fine. It doesn't matter if your child flunks his or her fucking exams, as long as they can come out of the other side of their school setting as active, good global citizens and whatnot, To be effective global citizens, young people need to be flexible, creative, and proactive. Oh, is that right? They need to be able to solve problems, make decisions, think critically, the irony, communicate ideas effectively, and work well within teams, etc. Yeah, I'm sure they do. But, climate justice. An introduction to climate justice is a booklet created by Young Friends of the Earth Scotland as an accessible intro to this crucial concept. Crucial concept, man. It's like, what the fuck? Honestly, man, this is what I'm talking about. I get so bogged down in utter waffle. Let me see if I can fucking get it. Is it this one? Oh, dearie me. Let me get it. Introduction. Yeah. If it'll open it. Jesus. Even that's taking ages to load because of my tabs. Climate justice, eh? Let's see. That didn't take long, eh? Oh my god, colonialism, racial injustice. Oh, fuck's sake, eh? Alright, let's have a gander. Why not? Oh, a bit fucking too big. This is a sad reality. Teachers are like opening up these PDFs and these resources, and then they're presenting this to kids in the classroom. This is the fucking problem. Climate justice is a term which recognizes this. It looks at climate change through a political, social, and economic lens. Yeah. Yeah, of course. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. You need to look at climate change through a so-called political lens. Plan is allegedly buried into a standard, but it's fine. Let's just look at it through a political lens. That's fine. As well as considering the environmental impacts, recognizing that climate change increases the inequalities and injustices which already exist in the world, and that current and past responsibility for climate change overwhelmingly lies with a few rich countries. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Whatever. What was that up there? I noticed that. I mean, people who are pushed into powerless positions in society are described as marginalized. They are forced to the margins. Often they are treated poorly, and they are not as important as other groups of people. Groups described as marginalized in the UK can include LGBT plus people, women, people of color, disabled people, and more. Okay. All right, thanks for that. Basically, everybody's not a white man yet. Basically, yeah, we got that one covered already. Colonialism. I mean, really, this is the sort of shit that kids need to be taught about. The intersections of climate justice. Yeah. What did you learn today at school, little Johnny? Well, I learned all about the intersectionality of climate justice. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, now, man. Climate change increases social injustice. Social inequalities create different vulnerabilities and increase risk impacts of climate change, such as extreme weather or sea level rises. While some places are inherently more vulnerable to physical impacts, risk is also increased by economic, political, and social factors. Our identities, such as gender, sexuality, race, class, nationality, age, and ability, define our power within society and often affect the resources we may be able to access in responding to climate change. Oh my! I mean, come on. This is what's classified as Scottish education. Seriously, you take it up the arse Well, you might not be entitled to as many resources to help you combat climate change, boy. Sorry to tell you. I mean, come on now. And I look at this. I mean, it's just fucking mental. This PDF is actually fucking insane. Like, seriously insane. The climate crisis is a racist crisis. I can't believe kids have been taught this, eh? I cannot believe this is actually what constitutes education. The climate crisis is a racist crisis. See, you fucking wet. Oh my god, man. The systems of colonialism and capitalism have left legacies which contribute to the climate crisis and the uphold racial oppression. You know? Oh, fucking hell. Wow. Thank God the gurus who created this PDF have come to the rescue in order to present the evidence and, and enlighten our children on what needs to be done going forward. You know, if it wasn't for these intellectual powerhouses, then fuck me, we would all be facing an inevitable pending doom, surely. Oh, man, come on now. I've left on a global scale, the rich former colonial powers produce the majority of historical greenhouse gas emissions, whilst poorer countries with majority populations of colors. Oh, of course, always them, you know, poor bems. Oh, come on, man. This is funny. It's really fucking funny. Climate change increases social injustice. Social inequalities create different vulnerabilities and increase rate impacts of climate change, such as extreme weather. Have I read that bit? No. I don't know, maybe. Let's see. What else have we got? Indigenous people, you know, everybody's indigenous apart from white people. It's funny how that works, you know. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah, totally not a coincidence. No, I don't think I'll be able to talk about, you know. I mean, that paragraph was hilarious. Oh, here we go. As the climate crisis intensifies and more of our planet becomes unlivable, people are forced to migrate. We are already seeing people losing their homes and livelihoods, forced to flee due to flooding, drought, and sea level rise. People need to cross borders to survive. Estimations suggest there are already more than 40 million environmental refugees. However, our current system of borders makes migration difficult. The places least affected by climate change, such as whitey's countries, have increasingly hostile migration and asylum policies. That's because whitey's countries have been overrun by people, you know, but it's fine. We'll just erase the borders, you know. The legal status of climate environmental refugees is also uncertain compared to people fleeing conflict and persecution. So the thing is, though, what's concerning about this is like teaching kids this shit, you know. That's you know, it's funny to laugh at like some of the utter bollocks that these people come away with, but as I say, like they're teaching kids this shit. Like this PDF comes directly from a website that is designed specifically for teachers to use as resources, etc. You know. No, this bit, man. LGBT people are marginalized in most societies across the world, leaving many lacking power and resources. Times of crisis can see them marginalized. Transgender people, especially transgender people of color, face heightened suffering at all stages of the natural disasters, which are becoming more frequent in our climate. My fucking god, I mean, fucking what? This can't be serious. I'm struggling with this. Oh my god! I actually can feel not just my IQ decline. I'm actually convinced I'm starting to sweat out a fucking chromosome. I'm losing chromosomes here. During Hurricane Katrina, transgender people faced discrimination in emergency shelters, and some were even turned away. Oh, okay. Patriarchy, of course, you have to get that in there. Jesus, man, this is fucking funny. You probably shouldn't laugh too much. Probably get blocked or banned for being racist or whatever. Existing gender inequalities mean that women and people of other marginalized genders will experience and respond to climate change differently. This is ridiculous. This is actually mental. Let me see what we've got. Zoom out a bit. Disability justice, intergenerational justice. Oh my days. Speciesism. Okay. Is there any more? Overpopulation arguments. Whatever. I'm not reading all that shite. Some of this, though, it was funny. Individual behavior, net zero, carbon offsetting. Looking forwards. Here we go. The gurus are going to save the day, of course. It's not all doom and gloom. System change means tackling the root causes of climate and making changes at structural level rather than focusing on the behavior of individuals who don't have the power and don't hold responsibility. It means keeping the focus on those most responsible for causing harm, challenging the systems of capitalism, colonialism. Isn't that very fucking convenient? The planet's allegedly burning to a cinder, and the only way to quell said burning, the only way to save the world and to save our future is to eradicate and eviscerate capitalism, and in its place, we should embrace socialism and equity and social justice, etc., etc. Remarkable how that seems to all pan out time after time after time. But the reality, though, just to conclude here, is that sadly, what you tend to see, and this is still Scottish stuff, is stuff like this, issue to action, tackling climate anxiety in the classroom. Digital education resource for teachers to think critically about the impact of the climate emergency on the health and well-being of learners. The health and well-being of learners. So you petrify little children, you brainwash little children, then you've got the gall, the temerity, the audacity to fucking sit there and pretend that you give one shite about the well-being of said child that you have incidentally brainwashed. It's fine, you've got some resources to help them, come to terms with the future of a burning planet. But it's fine because you've got the solutions, of course, don't you? But just as I said, we'll just get rid of capitalism and whatnot. We'll embrace diversity, etc. Why the climate emergency causes anxiety. They've got some lovely little videos here of people talking about it,
I think there's a lot of reasons why climate anxiety happens, and I think one of the main reasons is young people are very aware of the problems of climate change, and when they see around what politicians are doing or seeing what older adults are doing, they can't see enough that is being happened or not enough is being done. So it may cause the people just to be a bit panicked that I know what I need to do, but the people in power positions don't actually know what needs to be done.
That's what I'm on about. This is what I was saying, like the start of this wee stream here. These young people, as they're classified as, like, they're so fucking deluded, and they have been so politicized, and they have had so much metaphorical smoke blown up their arseholes that they genuinely are of the belief that people in power, air quote unquote, are clueless. They're not doing enough. But yet the gurus, such as who I thought was a guy, but clearly is a bird, right? They've learned some shit in their textbooks in school and whatnot, and they know the score. They're all climatologists now all of a sudden because they've sat in a geography lesson for the course of a fucking year in school. We know what needs to be done, and they're just not doing enough. I mean, get a grip. Isn't it funny? You're presented with these materials in school, you end up parroting exactly what you've been taught, and lo and behold, courtesy of having a right to be listened to and taken fucking seriously, you start demanding change, and then of course the government have to do as you've demanded, because that's what the United Nations Children's Rights Charter has put into our fucking law. It's remarkable how it all works out, But on that note, I mean, I've got far too many tabs open, and it's almost 11:30 at night, so I don't know. I don't even know where to begin if I was to continue going through this. But I mean, some of this shite is fucking mental. I mean, they're just brainwashing kids. This is what this is. All it is. You know, while people are whining and moaning about fucking the Labour Party and whatnot, it's like, look closer to home. Look what's going on in your schools. You know what I mean? You don't even need to have skin in the game to care about this, surely. What's this one?
Well, I think there's a general kind of feeling of it's such a big issue and we're all going to die and it's so terrifying that people don't even want to touch on it or talk about it. So it's kind of just totally avoided speaking about it.
There's also the idea that there's lack of education and lack of conversation about this, which means that people don't actually know the facts.
Because a lot of these problems are coming from big corporates, it means that, like, us individually, we can't, I think we're being taught that we can't individually do enough to solve this problem. And even if we all come together, it's not enough compared to what is like what the corporates are doing and what they're doing to the environment.
Is a big cause of the anxiety is the scale of it, because it's a global thing on pretty much, I would say, every continent. There's some kind of an issue and a major one, and on every single front we're starting to run out of time.
Is that right? Okay, now strategies for addressing anxiety. Well, let's hear this one. I know.
One of the major things is going on to be the person who you wished you had to talk about climate anxiety and everything with younger generations. So making sure that you're the one who's talking to
Trying to hear you.
people who are younger than you. Teenagers.
Teach the science, talk about the social issues.
Teach the science. Oh, teach the science. Of course. Yeah. I'll save the day. Teach the fucking science. You know what I mean? Come on now. It's the science that you could argue got the created this predicament in the first place, surely. And every child's whining and moaning about anxiety and apparently claiming to know all the facts that there is to know. You could make the argument that's the so-called science that's created that issue. And, you know, I don't know. I really don't know. What else have I got here before I go? I've got that. Climate ready classrooms. I mean, far too much shite open here. Far too much. But what's this one? Yeah. I'll end on this because I mean, it's not just like climate as well. You got like obviously like the United Nations Children's Rights Charter shite as well. You know, human rights belong to everyone, no matter where you live. Isn't that sweet? Lovely stuff, isn't it? So I'll just open that very quickly. I think it's there. Here we go. So what we got? Oh dear. This resource again, it's all like resources designed for teachers to like sort of knuckle down and research, etc. Open up expand their worldview, re-educate themselves, politicize themselves, become the good global citizen that you were always destined to be. Professional reading, and it just goes to show like some of the utter tripe participation. Let me see. So you've got like sustainable development goals, of course. There's no smoke without fire. Resources for teachers. Children's participation is one of the core principles of the UN's Convention on the Rights of the Child. Every child has the right to express their views, feelings, and wishes in all matters affecting them, and they have a right to have their views considered and taken seriously. Yeah, of course they do. So you could make the argument, and hear me out. Just introduce them to a range of political talking points, politicize them, encourage them to start speaking out, demand political change, and lo and behold, they've got a right to be listened to and taken seriously. Almost as if this was all thought out well in advance, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Exploring rights with learners, of course. Early years, I mean, fuck off, man. This resource is designed to support teachers to introduce human rights to children from aged 3 to 5. I mean, it's explore their feelings, yeah. Oh dear, 3 to 5 year old, Why not? human rights in primary school. Set of 10 interactive lesson activities to help pupils aged 5 to 11 under 5 to understand their own human rights and values and attitudes that underpin them. Yeah, a 5-year-old die. That's just not surprised, admittedly, but our world and our rights. This resource provides a good introduction to human rights with 148 pages of lesson plans, activities, games, and quizzes. All tried and tested in the classroom for use across the curriculum. Oh, that sounds riveting. That sounds fucking riveting. Taking a rights-based... I haven't even had that tab shared there. My bad there. Just taking a rights-based approach to global themes. I do apologize for that. I didn't realize I didn't have the tab open there, but I was just reading this. Shite. Children participation is one of the core principles of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. That's what I was reading out. And then these wee bitties here. Where did it go? Aye, this bit. Human rights in the primary school. And it said there. 5 to 11. And then, fucking opening that. No. Ugh, I don't know. Anyway, where was I? Aye. Taking a rights-based approach. You know, it's just... Honestly, like, I really do encourage people, like, if they've ever got... Maybe not as much free time as I clearly have when I've got all these tabs open, but, like, to just go through some of this shit. Honestly, because it's just nuts. It's fucking nuts. You know? Taking action for rights. Oh, I don't know, man. I really don't know. But aye, that's that Highland One World website. Quite a lot of resources on there. Climate anxiety, climate change resources, anti-racist education, Stride magazine. That's something that people should do. Or the Signpost website as well, by the way. That's Stride magazine. Let me go on that one actually instead. Honestly. Oh man, I mean, look at Minecraft Peace Builders game, you know. Introduction to climate justice, resources and support for anti-racist education practitioners. Let me see. Teach peace. Yes, so progressive. Let's go on global citizenship. And there's so many resources on these websites, honestly. Like, this is what I'm saying. You just end up going down like a god-awful rabbit hole. Truth be told. But I won't be doing that anymore tonight because I think I've gone on for long enough. But, I mean, that as well. Vision 2030. That's quite an old document from memory. Honestly, no. Share this tab instead. I'm March 2016, but I just want to show something quickly on this because I remember talking about this years ago. This is from Education Scotland, Scottish Government, etc. But this bit here, actually, learning for sustainability. There's a bit down here. That's is that Nicola Sturgeon? Yeah, it is. This isn't the bit I was on about, but just show it here. Sustainable Development Goals offer a vision of the world that I believe people in Scotland share, and she's delighted to confirm that Scotland has become one of the first nations on earth to publicly sign up to these goals and provide international leadership in reducing inequality. All right, that was 2015. But you come down here, and it goes on to say, money for sustainability. Fucking, here we go. Nope, it's coming. Should be coming. From memory, anyway. I haven't been on this PDF in years, but should be fucking here. I'm going to be raging if it's not, like. But children's rights, local authorities, communities, qualification. Nope. It better be here, boys. Where the fuck? Here we go. Visions for Scotland in 2030. Scotland will be the best nation in the world for children to grow up and develop. And what better way to ensure that they grow up and develop in a way that could be considered beneficial and whatnot, and to, you know, just introduce them to climate change, education, global citizenship, etc. However, Every learner receives their entitlement to learning for sustainability. Every practitioner demonstrates learning for sustainability in their practice, and every school and setting has a coherent whole school approach. But this bit here, this one in particular, this one right here, it's lovely, lovely stuff, isn't it? Our learners are committed, or will be committed, to the principles of global citizenship, social justice, and equity, democratic participation, and living within the ecological limits of our planets. When we will have effective 3-year-olds, 3 to 18 progression and learning for sustainability across all sectors. But yeah, social justice, equity, and global citizenship. That's what Scotland needs in the 21st century, isn't it? Yes. Fuck your ABCs, fuck your numeracy, as long as little Johnny knows all there is to know about social justice and why transgender people suffer more when there's a tornado. Of course. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's just remarkable, some of the shite you see. And on that note, aye. Fucking hell, it's been a while since I've done a stream. But yeah, I think I'll leave it on that note. Yeah. Peace.